What's on? Hey everyone, Killer Sci-Fi Action Movie Reviews here. Today I'm going to be reviewing Vanoss' Superhero School Season 1, Episode 2, Power Academy. The episode begins with a commercial with a newspaper article showing that the Vanoss Superhero School students are being honored with bravery by the mayor. The commercial goes on showing stock footage from the last commercial and still talks about how it trains young heroes. It also shows Dean talking about how crime never sleeps, so he never sleeps. After the commercial, Dean talks about how the school's life has been changed ever since the liquor store robber. He talks about how the students all pitched in and how he single-handedly took down the liquor store robber. Even though they're showing clips from last episode how he was cowering in a corner. Dean also talks about how enrollment went up 75% and their new foreign exchange student. We then get to meet the new foreign exchange student, Kento, with Kurt. And Kurt pretty much brags about how he knows fluent Japanese. Kurt starts speaking Japanese to Kento, saying how there's great honor in these walls of the school, and how he's going to teach him that honor. And then he starts saying that how him and Kento are long-lost twins, and fraternal twins if he just cuts his hair and dyes it black. Kento said that how Kurt learned Japanese is by watching Japanese television, and then goes on to saying how it's like talking to Bugs Bunny. In the back with Dean, Dean is showing the camera crew how he has all this new exercise equipment, how he's going to turn into a giant obstacle course for the students, until he turns around and sees these people from the gym down the street trying to steal his tire, so he goes chasing him off. Now on the sidewalk with Austin, Tanner, Kurt, and Kento going down the street, Austin points out a giant billboard for their rival school, Power Academy. Austin says it looks like a nice school, and Tanner says you don't want to go there, it's full of posers. And then when he turns around, he looks behind him and sees all these Power Academy students walking up near them and says, "Hey look, here comes some posers now." The Power Academy students then start to threaten Tanner, and some things are said back and forth until finally one of the students make Tanner flip out when he says, "At least I know my dad." Tanner throws a punch, but then the kid uses mind control against Tanner. The kid then uses his powers to force Tanner to pick up a trash can, trying to dump all the trash on his head. Kurt tries to come to his rescue, but then gets trapped in the mind control too. The principal of the Power Academy soon comes in for Tanner and Kurt's rescue, and then Dean comes out saying what's going on here. And the principal of the Power Academy says that he just saved your students from getting their butts kicked, and then Dean starts to gloat saying, "Well, your students are lucky I just wasn't out here in time." So the principal of the Power Academy says, "How come you don't answer any of my calls for Powerball?" So Dean says he doesn't have time, but he'll do it anytime, anywhere. And the principal at the Power Academy says, "What about tonight?" And then Dean says, "Sure, at my gym." Dean then tells the students to go inside, and as they're walking in, Austin asks him, "What's Super Bowl?" And Dean says, "I'll just tell you." Kurt then stops Kento, saying, "This has been a great dishonor. Follow me on this journey," in Japanese. In the back of the school, Dean starts to talk to the students, saying how the game is just like dodgeball, but you get to use your powers. And Austin points out, well, none of them has superpowers, and Tanner chimes in saying, "Speak for yourself, dude." And then Austin said, "You didn't even use your superpowers." Then Tanner was about ready to say something, and then he just shut up because he knew he didn't actually use his powers in that fight. Tanner tries picking up one of the metal balls, but can't because it's 800 pounds. Then he starts to worry, saying, "Are they going to be throwing these at us?" Austin then starts to talk, saying how he used to be bullied his whole life, and went to Vanoss to try to change all that, but now he's thinking he's being set up for failure, and then points out how the Power Academy students bullied the bully. Tanner talks about how the game's going to be easy, and how he's going to have to carry all his teammates on his back, and how he's going to nail that kid in the face using all his rage. Dean says how he feels bad how he didn't teach these students this game before, but he says how he has an ace up his sleeve. Later that night, we get to see the Power Academy students training for the game, and they are really good. And Austin starts freaking out, saying, "What are we going to do?" The principal of the Power Academy and the kid who was bullying Tanner earlier start making fun of the team, saying how this is going to be easy. And then the principal goes over to Austin's and calling him Stuart Little, saying if your coach doesn't show up in a minute, you forfeit the game. We see Dean at that gym and getting those people from earlier. He then goes to the game with the people, saying that, "Sorry, I just had to pick up a few more students, had to get them some subs." Dean then takes every student out except for Tanner, because Tanner whined how he wanted to play the game. The game starts and it's kind of even at first till the Power Academy students try to use their powers, especially the kid with the mind control powers, but then he can't use them because he doesn't sense any brain activity from the people from the gym. The Power Academy students are dropping like flies until finally the kid with the mind control powers is the last one left, but then he falls too. The Power Academy principal then says that he's not getting ice cream and he's not a special boy anymore. The Vanoss students go in the building celebrating their victory of the Powerball tournament, and everybody's so happy, and Dean says he couldn't have done it all without you guys, the workout people. And then one of the workout people says, "No, this is fun, but where do we pay? Do we pay you or at the gym?" And Dean says, "Mo, you pay me. Let's go in my office." While everybody is still celebrating, Austin then asks, "Wait, where's Kurt and Kento?" And then a few seconds later, we see Kurt and Kento walking in, wearing ski masks, holding an axe and a sword. Everybody looks shocked, and Austin asks, "Where have you guys been?" Kurt just replies, "We have revenged the honor of this school." We then cut to a news report explaining that a superhero academy has just been vandalized and received millions of dollars worth of flood damage, and they're on the lookout for 2 masked assailants. Back at the school, we see Kento calling his mom, speaking in Japanese how he wants to buy a plane ticket so he can go back home. And that was Vanoss' Superhero School Season 1, Episode 2, Power Academy. And it was a really good episode. There was way less F-word this time, and they showed more superpowers. Well, cheap powers at that, just more charade-like powers where you can just act them out, not like laser eyes or that kind of stuff. But it was still a good episode, and it was way longer than Episode 1. Episode 1 was only 9 minutes, which this episode became 13 minutes. And I really liked the Powerball thing. I wish they would have done more episodes with Powerball, like make it, like go more in depth with Powerball, making like a tournament, sort of like what you would see in an anime. But it was still a good episode, and I have to give it a 3.5 stars, because jokes were on par, good writing, and the acting is still amazing. It still reminds me of The Office, just like the cutscenes when they're interviewing the people. But you can see this episode or series yourself on YouTube on VanossGaming. And that's all for now. Well, bye guys. To see more content like this, why don't you subscribe to my channel? And see the latest video, click right there. And to see a playlist of my 50s and 90s music, click right there.